Nobody likes death, do they? Yeah, nobody likes death. And just last week, we lost so many people who were just too young to die. Michael Jackson, Billy Mays, Farrah Fawcett, who I don't even know. Ed McMahon, I think he lived a full life. I think he was about in his late 80s. But no, I don't like death. Nobody likes death. I hate it. Almost as much as I hate this next movie that I'm going to review.
The Adventures of Mark Twain, also known as Comet Quest, is a 1985 movie directed, produced, and animated by the big daddy of claymation, Will Vinton. It is the first full-length movie to ever be made entirely of claymation. It's based on the works of author Mark Twain and his great American novels, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. There was also a 1945 movie of the same name starring Frederick March, which stated a fact that the Halley's Comet was seen in the sky both when Mark Twain was born and when he died. So 40 years later, Vinton decided to make a children's movie based around Mark Twain and Halley's Comet using this newfound fangled claymation technology. And it does it in a very bizarre way. But how does it hold up? Let's find out. The movie begins with our titular characters, Tom and Huck, on the river along with their frog, Homer. Now the claymation itself looks pretty good. The one problem that kind of irks me is that at some points it looks a little too murky and oftentimes scary. Though this isn't surprising coming from the guy who animated the scariest shit imagery in Return to Oz and Michael Jackson's Speed Demon.
Bringing chills up my spine already. So Tom and Huck are walking through town, where they see people talking about Halley's Comet approaching. They also see a giant flying balloon machine thing built by author and inventor Mark Twain, and it's going to be sent up to Halley's Comet. Looks more like the holy hand grenade of Antioch, if anything. Tom and Huck sneak up into the flying machine, but their friend Becky Thatcher witnesses them and goes after them.
You're nothing but a liar and a stowaway, Tom Sawyer. You too, Huck Finn.
Yes, that's
You
right.
mustn't.
Halley's Comet.
Then they make their way up the balloon through this strange wall onto platform 9 3/4 of the balloon. Then suddenly, the balloon starts moving, and Tom and Huck are taking off with it.
Tom Sawyer, the aeronaut.
Oh yeah, it looks like now they are off on an adventure. Ooh. But as it turns out, they're not alone.
Caught you out, didn't I, Tom Sawyer? You are stowaways.
I hope you are satisfied, Thatcher.
They also run into Mark Twain, voiced by late acting legend James Whitmore.
Where are we going?
To Halley's Comet.
Halley's Comet? Wicked.
Burned to a crisp.
Then Twain talks about a bunch of crap that nobody cares about, showing off machines and contraptions. Look at this madness. The whole ship is wonky. Everything just seems to randomly appear, and since when the heck did Mark Twain turn into Albert Einstein? Then he talks about a story he wrote called The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. Jeez. He then uses a machine to transport their frog Homer into the story itself, in one of the most bizarre scene transitions I've ever seen. Jesus Christ, superstar. The frog itself isn't even set up very well. Homer turns into a ball of clay whenever he jumps, and the frogs in the story are huge. They're as big as dogs, perhaps even bigger. So basically the story is about an old gambler named Jim Smiley, who challenges a stranger to a frog race. He says that his frog Daniel Webster can outjump any other frog in the county.
All a frog wants is educating, and he can do most anything.
The race starts, but Jim's frog can't seem to move, so the stranger's frog continues to hop, or, spasm, its way towards the finish line. So the stranger's frog eventually wins the race, and he ends up winning the bet.
What do you mean you won?
Now, if you have read the story, you would have known that the stranger put lead bullets into Daniel Webster's mouth, weighing it down so it couldn't move. But guess what? Not only did the frog eat lead, but also a frying pan, a boot, a cinder block, a jug, a freaking shovel, and God knows what else. A really, really weird story, but funny nonetheless. So while Twain shows Becky a telescope that he uses to peer out at the comet, Tom and Huck try to figure out a way to get off the balloon. Yeah, good luck with that. You're halfway over the Atlantic by now. Then they find a strange machine in the center of the balloon. Basically, it's supposed to be a table of contents based on Mark Twain's books. Then they try out the machine.
Look, Alex is doing this shit. You fucking nigga.
That was close. I don't ever want to meet that guy again.
Then they find an old library, which features books, a pool table, and Mark Twain, of course.
What's this thing do?
Go ahead, give it a try. That's my monument to Adam and Eve.
Why, you have to pay for it every time you use it? What a ripoff.
They're naked.
So are we all the day we're born. But we learn to be modest. Not all over. Just in places.
Holy dumb heck. An entire scene based on Adam and Eve and forbidden fruit? What kind of kids movie is this anyway?
Oops. What am I doing? There. Okay. Adam, this is for you.
You know how they say God is bigger than the boogeyman, Godzilla, and the monster on TV? I think that's an understatement. Seriously, they did a horrible job getting a voice actor for God. Sounds like a depressed Stephen Blum.
So then Adam is created, and with clothes, believe it or not, as he goes around doing a bunch of really random stuff. Swinging from trees.
Watch out for that tree!
Then he flows down a river and goes over Niagara Falls, and then relaxing on a beach. Yeah, I know the animators wanted to make this movie satirical, but this is just silly. So on a Saturday, judging by the subtitle in the corner, Adam does meet Eve for the first time, and then they get into some weird fight. So Adam pulls some bricks out of his ass and quickly builds a house to shield himself. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. Seriously, brick? Did they even have brick back then?
I love my brick!
This whole scene is probably the longest in the movie. That, and it's boring. Why is it so long? Why is it so boring? Why is it so smegged up? Did you get all that? I hope you did.
But now it seems the balloon has gone through a storm, and now the kids have to try to save it. While they're doing this, a mysterious stranger can be seen up on the top deck, actually making the storm act up. Who is it? Whatever it is, it's causing the storm to act up, and now the balloon is on a collision course with a giant mountain.
Thank you, good night!
Ricola! Ooh, that scene was freaky. Can't possibly get any worse than that. Can it?
Welcome to the Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
What's going on?
Where'd he go?
We're home.
Oh hey, great, they're back home. Does that mean the movie's over?
That was close. She was gonna make me whitewash that old fence again.
Tom Sawyer, you chowderhead.
No. Tom, you go back through that doorway and back to your own world before I get sick.
If you want off so bad.
Where'd he go?
Close enough to home to bark our shins, and now it's gone.
Tom Sawyer, you chowderhead, you smeghead, you head.
So anyway, Twain shows up again, and he looks like hell.
Am I already famous?
Don't you care about nothing else, you lummox?
Fame is a vapor. The only earthly certainty is oblivion.
Now would be a very good time to turn off the movie. Because now we come to the point where the movie gets so freaky, so bizarre, and just so plain scary as crap that it'll scar any person for life. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the mysterious stranger.
Hello.
Who are you?
An angel.
What's your name?
Satan.
Oh, how you doing, Satan? Tell Hussein I said hi.
So Satan takes the kids into his world, which kind of sort of reminds me of Nevermore from Teen Titans. He then uses some kind of power to bring life to the island they're all on, giving them fruit to eat and also allowing them to make their little kingdom of clay.
How did you learn to do that?
I didn't learn it at all. It comes naturally to me, like other curious things.
Yeah, like jerking off.
So Tom, Becky, and Huck all start working making clay figures for their own little world.
Look at that little village.
Then the stranger brings them all to life and...
Looks like my pap on Saturday night.
Aww, just look at all of them. Moving around and making loud, obnoxious noises. What fun.
I find you humans quite interesting.
Oh, well, thank you.
Even though you are a worthless, greedy lot.
Oh, well, fuck you then.
Fools. What fascinations there are on this planet. Strange mortals with curious customs.
Did you just see that? He just squashed them with his hand. And then they put them in coffins, and now everyone's crying. And you bastard.
We'll have a storm now. And an earthquake if you like.
No, please, God, no.
Little boy, you're going to hell. Send my boys for watching the birds, and now this is your tale. We're going back to see Disneyland tale. Little boy, it's time for you to pay. For hurting that bird and not going to church and staring at books every day. But you were in bed, instead you're in hell.
I can do no wrong. For I do not know what it is.
I know what it is. It's called being an asshole.
You murdered him.
Never mind them. People are of no value. We could make more sometime. If we need them.
That was the worst thing they could ever put in a movie like this. I mean, okay, the Adam and Eve scene, that was fucked up. But this is the epitome of fuck. This whole movie is an exercise of mind and fear factor. It just messes with your head, tries and fill you up with all tension and stuff. I mean, I'm just glad that scene's over and we never have to see anything like that ever again.
Welcome to Ancient Joe.
I reckon I'm getting out of here.
Not that way out.
No.
Mr. Twain,
Remember your old friend, Injun Joe?
Great brass balls. How could you create one huge scary scene and then 5 seconds later come up with yet another scary scene? I mean, give us a break. Have mercy.
So after that madness, Tom decides that the only way for them to get back home is to hijack the balloon.
Tom Sawyer, Aeronaut, saves airborne friends from Madman's Death Wish.
Then the scene cuts to Twain playing his organ.
Any sane person would just chuck this movie out the window. But I can't. I'm the hardcore kid. I have a review, and I'm going to finish it, even if it makes me go crazy.
Then they have this scene where they see this weird-looking guy going up to heaven. When he gets there, he finds that everyone, right down to the frickin' gatekeeper, are a bunch of purple, three-headed aliens whose only goal in heaven is to dance to some really crappy techno music.
So the context of this whole scene? Heaven is a complete joke, and you got screwed out of your death bucks for it.
Good God, what a swindle.
Then guess what? Now it's back to reading that stupid Adam and Eve story. Dear God, again? Didn't we already finish that beast of a story? Apparently not. So yeah, now we're back to the story. Adam and Eve are learning more about how to live. They learn about fire, and they also learn about taking care of themselves. And for once, the movie starts to take a much more pleasant and educational turn. So what could possibly ruin this scene?
Would you like to see my etchings?
No, I'm pretty sure the scene speaks for itself. The movie needed some sexual fuel, and now it got it.
So yeah, now they have a baby, the house looks like something out of the Flintstones, and what does Adam have to say about it?
In my judgment, it is either an enigma or some kind of bug. I never had a thing perplex me so. Perhaps I could take it apart and see what its arrangements are.
So what is the whole context behind this Adam and Eve side plot? It's simple. The characters of Adam and Eve are portrayed as Mark Twain and his late wife Olivia. His wife died years before he did, leaving him all alone and sad. And now Mark Twain has made it his goal to fly to Halley's Comet and join his wife in the, not so much the heavens, but the tail's end of the comet. But now there's trouble. As the balloon approaches Halley's Comet, it starts to run out of power.
Get to the emergency power switch. The airbag will blow us all to hell.
One progressy.
It's Homer to the rescue. Or is it?
By jings, he did it.
Yay, Homer!
With Halley's Comet now in sight, everyone starts throwing shit out of the balloon to get more altitude. And after a nasty encounter with debris from the comet, they're finally able to get inside it. And that's when the stranger on board finally reveals himself.
Come on out and show yourself. There you go, scaring everybody again.
Scott,
You
look!
haunted me long enough.
My God, it's Mark Twain's evil brother, Mike Twain.
Everyone is a moon and has a dark side, which he never shows to anybody.
So the two Twains combine together, and then they disappear into dust, right into the comet.
Mr. Twain, where's the comet going now?
To Eden, angel fish, back to Eden.
I found this in Adam and Eve's diary. You can have it.
Oh, go on. Aren't you gonna kiss?
Yeah, well, I found these.
Thanks for ruining the moment, Huck.
This was one adventure Mr. Twain wouldn't get around to writing.
Steady as you go.
So I figured to get it all down before I forgot a single thing.
Let me help you write it, okay? After all, I am pretty much the hero. The Adventures of Mark Twain by the great, famous, world-renowned, celebrated author and aeronaut, Tom Sawyer.
Then the credits start rolling, and we get some pretty catchy music playing in the background, and then the movie ends.
This movie is weird. I mean, I don't get it. What kind of audience was Will Vinton trying to get with this picture? I mean, it can't be kids because there's swearing, the scary moments, the frickin' mysterious stranger. I mean, if this movie was trying to teach any life lessons, I think it would just scare kids away than teach them anything. Other than that, the music is good, and being that it's the first ever claymation movie, it's actually very well made, but it's like beyond hardcore. I mean, this movie is just, it's in the mindfuck area. So therefore, it's a headache. And now I have to end this and get me some... Oh, get that out of here! Get that out of here! Ugh. Yep, that was me. 9 years and 2 months ago. I miss having hair. But yeah, what do I think of the movie now? Well, I am still a little mixed on it. I mean, I like the animation, and I like the characters, and the scary imagery, as fucked up as it is, it's still cool to watch. I just think the movie was kind of boring. I mean, aside from the moments with the mysterious stranger and Injun Joe, who, by the way, that is not the same Injun Joe you see in Disney. Disney just lightened all that up. Yeah, I mean, the Adam and Eve stuff, I think, went a little too long. As far as the first ever claymation feature film goes, I still consider it a hardcore hit. Looking back on this review, it's not great. I sound so bored and so disinterested, but for me, it was my first few steps, and I still look back on it, and I feel happy with how far I've come. I am thinking of redoing my Halloween tree review, especially with the Halloween season coming up, so look forward to that, guys. Until then, I'm the Hardcore Kid. Peace out and cease.